welcome everybody. My name is Cathi Nelson. I'm the CEO and founder of the Photo Managers. And every month I have to look back and know exactly how long, I have interviewed a photo manager. We call it Career Advice from a Pro. And the goal of this has been to actually help people meet all the different photo managers that do this for a living and realize what an amazing, diverse community of professionals we have. People from all different parts of the world, different life experience and backgrounds, different ages. All of those you can watch on our YouTube channel now. We finally figured out that we should be posting these on YouTube. So you could go back and watch different professionals. And I am thrilled today to bring you Mili, whose business is Pictures with Magic. And when we were talking, actually, Mili has been a longtime member from 2013. So I have known Mili for many years. She's been to almost all of but one of our conferences. And I'm thrilled to have her today. So Mili, why don't you introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about your background and your business?
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thank you, Cathi, for having me. I'm really humbled to be here sharing my experience. Surprisingly, my background is not photography at all. I was born and raised in Caracas, Venezuela, and I went to college there, and I studied computer engineering. Back in the time when the computers were super big and you have to program them using punch cards, and graphics were a utopia. It was that far away. And I worked as a computer programmer and project manager for many years. And my last work in Venezuela was with Unisys Corporation, where I was a computer programmer and a support for our sales force, making presentations, making prototypes for solutions, training, and being the project manager for many of our projects. Then my husband worked at Unisys also, and he was transferred to Boca Raton in 1989 to be part of the region of Latin American subsidiaries. So I had to quit my job and, of course, come here. And supposedly we were coming for a few years, and here I am 35 years later. So at that time, we decided I will be a stay mom, because our kids were in the process of adapting to a new language, a new country, and most of all, leaving everybody behind, all the family, all the friends, everything. On top of that, my husband was traveling a lot to Latin America. And because I had nothing else to do, we had a baby. So we were really busy at the time. I was really busy at the time. And on those times, of course, you didn't have emails, you didn't have cell phone, you didn't have anything that the technology we have today. So the sad part is I was not really into photography because I was a terrible photographer. All my pictures were terrible, and you didn't realize until you developed them, and they all came back. So I was not really into, and I didn't have a very nice camera by the time. So eventually, my father, that was a very curious man, and he loved to learn everything. He introduced me to digital photography. And we were fortunate that my parents and members of my family could come to visit us at least once a year. So because I couldn't be there for 4 years, I realized how much I was missing in all the events and things that were happening. So I understood that the photos were the only way I could update them on what was happening with us, and to receive to know what was happening there. So when I received that camera and I started using them, that was a big change for me, because I could take the pictures, I could delete the ones that didn't work, and just, retake the ones that had to be retaken. So it was a change completely. And because I was not afraid of technology, I start, working with Picasa, found Photoshop. Then I love everything that I could do. I start working and learning Photoshop. I start learning how to enhance picture and learning how to do a lot of stuff with my pictures. So I love it. Then when my kids were in high school and the little one in elementary, I came back to work. I came back to work as a computer programmer again, and still as a project manager, but still in the big machines. I mean, I was working with mainframes. My laptop was for my work at home, my thing, but nothing like we have right now. But in the process, I learned a lot about digital things. I start making cards and it working. Actually, I remember when the first version of Lightroom came, I bought it, I think the same day it was, and it was a big deception to me, because at that stage, Lightroom was very basic, and it was more like to organize pictures than to edit them, or not, more to edit them, but not in the way that I could do with Photoshop. I couldn't, make selections and things and combine pictures the way I wanted. So I really didn't work that much with Lightroom at that time. I kept doing my Photoshop stuff, and I kept doing all the stuff, and I fell in love with everything, and especially when we were able to be together. I mean, my husband gave me a Sony Alpha 100. Oh my goodness, how I enjoy that camera.
Mili, one thing I love, like your whole story that you're telling is so beautiful, because so often when I do webinars like become a professional photo manager, I always say there's 3 personality traits that are important for success. And one is a lifelong learner, which obviously you're clearly letting us know that you are somebody who loves to learn, that you're telling us from early on, and that curiosity, right? And then also you saw quickly the value that photos tell stories, and
Yes.
it's what connects us, right, to
Yes.
our past. And
yes, and all of a sudden I was the photographer of our event, our
Right.
family events and things. Every time I went to Venezuela, every time we were traveling, I was with my camera. I actually learned from one of my nieces that to take a picture of my silhouette, because I was all the time behind the camera, so I was not in the pictures. So I learned to take a picture of my silhouette so people will know that I was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was wonderful. It was wonderful, and I used to work a lot with Picasa. Then we started sharing the web albums with Picasa and all that stuff. I didn't know anything about Apple, about Mac. Everything was PC for me. And then my father gave me my first MacBook Pro. And then I started playing with iPhoto. I love it. I love it. And actually, after Picasa disappeared, I don't want to do anything with photos in the PCs. I do everything in my
You do
Mac.
everything. So tell us how you started and how did you find us in 2013? I can't remember the story of that. So how did you start your business?
Well, what happened is, because I was doing all this stuff, it happened that 2006 came, and it was my mom's 80th birthday.
Mm.
So what can you give to a wonderful lady that had 10 kids, 24 grandkids, and what can you give her that is meaningful? At that age, she doesn't want a thing. She wants something that has a meaning. So I had found Kodak Gallery. So I thought, perfect. We are going to make a photo book for her. But I didn't want to do a photo book just with a bunch of photos, it's like, so I talked to my sister. I said, what about everybody, meaning kids and grandkids, are going to send me a phrase, a paragraph, a poem, whatever, reflecting what she means for them, for everyone. So I start restoring photos of her, the old photos, and putting everything together while she recollected all the phrases and everything. And we put everything together in a book.
Wow, okay.
That book was awesome. I mean, my mom cried, laughed, was telling us the stories that, completing the stories behind the pictures. And for the first time, I realized what photos with narrative, the magic of photos with narrative for a person. I mean, how magical that was. I mean, it was, and then I was hooked, totally hooked. So in 2007, my first grandson came. And I decided to quit my job. I said, I'm going to take care of him. Take care of him. And can you imagine how many pictures of that boy I have?
Yeah.
Okay. So I kept working and learning and doing things for my one friend, two friends. And when my grandson went to BBK, all of a sudden I had a lot of time in my hands, and then I said, well, maybe I can help people with this, because, making the photo books and everything, not everybody has the time or the desire to do that. And then I figured, I found out that people didn't know where their photos were, how messy they were at the time. They had no idea.
Right.
So trying to look for a way to help them, my friend invited me to a NAPO meeting where a photo organizer was presenting. And I said, that's what I need. This is what I need.
NAPO, for those that don't know, is the National Association of Professional Organizers. Those are residential organizers who tend to do projects in homes and things. And many of them are photo organizers, but many of them aren't interested in being photo organizers. And so that makes sense.
Many of them are not at all.
Yeah, they don't want to do that. Yeah.
So that after that meeting, the following week, I called you, and the rest is history. I mean, 1 year later, I was certified, and that's it. Here I am.
And you've been doing this, I know, since 2013. So for those of you that are new and thinking about this as a business, Mili is an example of somebody who's been at it for 11 years. And so, tell us what is it? How have you found your clients? That's
usually by referrals. I have found some through partners from the photo managers. I found my first VIP clients came from a partner from the photo managers. I was from Photo Bridge, because the lady was looking to put together the story of her family, and she needed to scan the pictures and do all the stuff, and they refer her to me because of the area. And she has been my client since 2014, and we still work together.
That's amazing that we can have a client. You're still doing work for her. What kind of work have you done for her?
Besides scanning and organizing her pictures, I have made a bunch of books. I made the book of the history of her parents, the history of her husband's parents, the history of her boys, and several trips. They travel a lot, so several trips and the 50th anniversary.
So
and
you're their
a
photo,
bunch.
you're kind of their photo historian that does
Exactly.
manages all their photos.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and then she referred me another good friend of her.
Mhm.
So, but I made for her, I only made the organizing of the physical photos. The lady is 80 something. And she said, oh, no. I don't want to select photos. That will be my son's problem. I just want to then organize and archive and save. So I did my part, is what she said. But still, she's still working with me that, I want to do a recipes photo book, a recipes book. And can you help me? Yeah, of course I can help you. So we keep working, even though she's not in the mood of digitizing or anything. That's not what she wants to do. But
okay, so you found your clients through referrals and, probably, I know, word of mouth after all this time and all these years. And what is it that you love most about what you do?
oh my goodness, the relationship with my clients. I mean, what happens is when you start working with them, scanning their pictures, organizing them, and of course telling the story, you know the family. At the beginning, they are kind of reluctant to talk to you, maybe, but little by little, they start treating you like a friend. And they know that you are trustworthy. So they share more and more with you. I mean, in making those books, I have cried, reading a letter. I have learned so much about the history of one person. I have learned about how a family came together in a tragedy. I mean, it's so many things that one of my clients was telling her husband, she knows more about my family than we do. You know?
That's
So
amazing.
that relationship is magical. It is.
It really, I always say, it's meaningful work. And I think, like you said, as people develop that trust level and they get to know you and they realize, yeah, it's a beautiful, so I always ask this question though, is what do people love? But I think it's always equally as important to ask people, what don't you like about your business? Because I think all of us have struggles and things that when you're a business owner, there's the things you love and then the parts you don't love.
No, what I don't like, please don't laugh, managing the business. I mean, in my work before, I made the presentations, I made the training, I made everything, but the client was brought to me. I didn't have to go out to look for the client. You know what I mean? So having to go to look for the client, having to networking, having to make a business plan. I didn't even know what a business plan was. So I had to start by getting training in how to manage a business, what to do, what not to do. I made so many mistakes at the beginning. Besides, the way we in Latin America conduct business is not the same that American people conduct business. So we have to learn about the culture to be able to communicate.
Right.
It was it was not easy. I mean, it requires a lot of training and try and error, and until finally I had my processes already established, and but yes, I mean, the managing the business, I will be super happy to be in the back, like somebody take care of the sales and marketing and all that stuff and give me the projects. I will handle the projects. That's my that's my passion.
Yeah. And that's a good point, and if people have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat because we'll have plenty of time for Q&A. And I think that that's a learning curve for so many people, right? When they, there's that saying, oh, do what you love and the money will follow. But doing what you love requires usually managing more than just what you love, right?
Exactly.
And so that and what's hopefully you'll mention that too in a minute. What's wonderful about being in a community of like the photo managers that you're not alone in those feelings of and you've known me since 2013, so you've seen all the changes the photo managers have gone through, from name
Yes.
changes and website changes and
Mhm.
staffing changes, and so you know that it's something that it's an ongoing learning process
Yes, it
for
is.
all of us. Yeah.
It is.
Another question I'd like to ask is, what is it that well, what's you kind of told that one story of that one couple, but that one person, but I realized, people, I was just talking to somebody before I got on this call, and I was saying, we always say organizing, but I joke that that's kind of the idea of organizing is like watching paint dry. I mean, there's nothing sexy or fun about that concept of organizing because it's a means to an end, right? You can't present back a story of a family's history or their legacy without a narrative, like you said, to create that narrative, and that requires
Yeah.
a form of organization. Do you have a story of a project that you finished for a client? Like you told the story of your mom crying, but have you had another story like that with a client? Like what were the
Yes,
results?
this client that I told you about it that came through PhotoBridge, she had, she had the idea we need to share the story of our parents, right? So we started with her husband's parents. They were a business. The father was a businessman, very successful. But we create the story since they meet. Since their parents meet, how they create the company, how they grow, where they live, and until their death. Even the guy and all the story of her business, because it was like they were young, they had a business, how was a business, and then he died of a heart attack. So the widow kept going. Then what happened with her, how the kids, the grandkids, until the day she died. So we create that book completely. So, and it was very rewarding because, as I said, I read letters, I read obituaries, and good notice, also, of course, successes. It was a complete, full story, well lived, and a life well lived. And when I came with the book, her husband took that book and her eyes were watering. He was like, oh my God, I cannot believe this. And, that feeling that they sit there and start looking in awe what they have in their hands. That is amazing.
That's priceless.
That is amazing. That is, you cannot describe it with words what that means.
Right.
And that's what I love to do.
Yeah, and that's what photo organizing tends to be, right? It's not the organizing, it's the creating of the and not every member makes photo books and things like that too. So what do you also do digital? What's your main specialty? What's your area of expertise that you like, who's your ideal client? What is it that you like to do most?
Well, my ideal client, it's this person, these clients that are 70 and older, that they understand I need to leave my legacy. They understand that, and they realize they cannot do it. So we start working from the beginning, from the printed photos, organizing, digitizing, making the collection available.
So you scan their photos for them, and
I used to do it. I'm not doing it that anymore because I found it's super tiresome for me. Yeah, at my age, it's super tiresome. So we have plenty of people that does that. So I work as a liaison, as I tell my clients. I don't convert movies. I'm your liaison with the person that does that. And now I'm outsourcing the scanning also. But I do all the organization, the archival, and I made the folder structure for them. Some of them they don't want to be handling the digital either. They want organize me everything, put me the metadata and everything, and create me a collection that I can give to my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons I don't tend to work remotely, because my clients are local. They don't want to work remotely. Mm-hmm. Most of my clients. However, I have had clients younger that have been mainly digital. But the problem with that is, for me, is that they have kids with a lot of activity, a lot of things. So we have an appointment once in a blue moon, and then, you know, they don't make decisions, and then that's not the project that I really enjoy.
Right. You
I enjoy.
I love the fact that you even knew the age of the client that you want to work with. And in some ways, they're your peers, right? People that, you know, there's an understanding of.
It's more easy to connect with them for me.
For you,
because, in many ways. And right. I'm not afraid, as I told you, I'm not afraid of technology. I work with Lightroom, I work with Mili, I work with Apple Photos, and I interchange the three words, but I'm not afraid with the technology at all. But my client is not the young people. It's more the people that is looking to leave a legacy. That's right. My client. Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that. That's who your client is. So tell us, the last question I always ask is, how has membership with the photo managers helped? It was the Association of Personal Photo Organizers, and then the photo managers helped you in your business and relationships. And
wow, how can I start, Cathi? I mean, I went to the first conference without knowing what I was, without anything about photo organization practically. And I made the connections. And even though in that first conference, that it was really, Apple was learning, but
our first
we were learning.
All our speakers were outside speakers, because we had nobody within the organization that could speak. And
exactly.
Now almost, I think out of the 20 breakouts we have coming up in Columbus in a few weeks, in a month, maybe 18 are members and only 2 or 3 are non-members. So
exactly. So that first conference, and however, in that intensive, we learned a lot. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was the first intensive. I've been trying to make the intensive every time I can. And we learn a lot, and we start making connection with our peers. I have peers that I've been friends with them since conference number 1. Mm-hmm. I mean, so we keep in touch. We learn, we ask, we learn. One of the things that I love about that is all the resources that we have. We have human resources. We have a bunch of colleagues that are our support, that are willing to share information with us or point us in the right direction. Mm-hmm. We don't need to know everything. It's impossible. Right. It's impossible to know everything. So we have resources everywhere. If you want to train in a specific area, we have the resources to do that. Okay. And then, when you go to conference, sometimes I have my doubt is that, I've been going for so many years. What else can I learn? That is a lot that I can learn still in products and methodology, because things change, programs change, everything change. I mean, and the more we are out there, the more things we found that affect our work and help us with our work. And we are not going to find that by ourselves. I mean, we can learn about a program by ourselves, but all the things that are every day evolving, coming, going, I mean, conference give us so many ways to be up to date with what's going on in our industry and make good relationships. That's wonderful, the good relationships that we made there.
Yeah.
That's
Well, that's wonderful. It's been a joy watching your journey all these years and having you as a guest. And, it's proof that, again, I love your passion for learning and that you keep learning and that you say, like, I'm not afraid of technology. And it's just a real testimony to your business and things. So does anybody have any questions for Mili that you'd like us to answer? And maybe Isabel, also, we're talking about our conference. If you could drop in the chat a link to our conference. We're still taking you can still come to conference. We have both in person in Columbus in about 30 days almost. And also we have a virtual conference. So 4 weeks later, we repeat the entire conference virtually. And so those of you that want to just join from your home, we make it really fun. It's the same speakers, different keynote speakers to make it, our vendors and exhibitors come. So you can learn about that there in the link as well. But that's a nice note. Lisa Kriegsman said, I just want to share gratitude for Mili. She's so generous with her knowledge. So that's one of your peers that is thanking you for sharing your wisdom and things with us. In the virtual, is the virtual conference, okay, Isabel, I'll let you read that because it's a little.
Yeah, well, the first one is for Mili. What's the area you live in and work in, Mili?
I'm sorry?
What's the area that you live and work in?
I live in Dunedin, Florida. I used to live in Boca Raton, so I used to work with all the South Florida area, especially in Palm Beach and Broward County. Now, until 2022, I moved to Dunedin, that is next to the Tampa area. So I actually, with the local clients, I work in the county I'm right now. But I have worked digitally with some clients, but it's not my big specialty.
And there was a question about the virtual conference, if that includes the digital marketing boot camp. The virtual conference does not include the digital marketing boot camp, but we are thinking about bringing it back in the fall, so stay tuned.
Yeah, we've had enough requests, so I think we virtually, because so many people wanted to attend it. Yeah.
Okay. So I just want to give a quote to everybody that I found it these days, and I think it's wonderful. It's from Marianne Radmacher. It said, courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes courage is the little voice at the end of the day that says, I'll try again tomorrow.
That is perfect. Courage doesn't always roar. Was that it? But it's a little voice that says at the end of the day, I'll try again tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, I think for us, that's a big thing because it's true. Sometimes you feel like, I'm not sure if I can do this. And you say, yes, you can. Keep trying, keep doing it. You can. So
that's I have that behind me. Everything is Figureoutable, which is by Marie Forleo, wrote a book, but I just love the title. And then the other one that you can't see is It's Okay to Be Brave and Afraid at the Same Time by Brene Brown. And I feel like I need them on both sides of my one on each shoulder every day. So
yeah. And it's okay, like when you are working with a prospect or whatever, it's okay to say no to a prospect, to say no to a client. That's okay. It's not the end of the world, because if you take a client that doesn't align with you or is very controversial with you, you are going to be miserable. And our projects are not to be miserable, are to be in harmony with your clients, not to hate each other. So it's okay to say no,
yeah, that's wise.
Yeah. I have had that more than once, to say, I'm sorry, but no, thank you. Yeah. And not be afraid to do it.
I love that quote. There was actually a question. Could you repeat that quickly? There was someone that missed the quote.
I can put it in your.
Oh, great. And after you've added that, do you have any preferred programs or services for making photo books?
Okay, let me put this. Or what is it? That says, sorry about that.
That's okay. It's a good reminder. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there is something that I love doing my photo books, that I love to keep the pages in my computer. I mean, I usually don't do books on online providers. So I tend to use my memory suite. It's a very user-friendly program that works with Mac and Windows. You have the program installed on your computer. With that program, I made my books, my collages, my pamphlets, everything. They provide you embellishment, backgrounds, whatever is you like to work with that. And you can use text. So you have way to put text, to put titles, to put everything. So I love to work with them because I designed the book on my computer, and then I can generate JPEGs, PNGs, PDF, or whatever, and upload them to the provider that I want to print the book. You know, it's I use Peekaboo a lot because many of my clients, they don't want high-end books. They don't want to tell the story in a nice way, but they don't want to spend a lot amount of money on the physical book. They spend it on the design, on things like that. That program to me has been, I've been using it since before I was a part of the photo managers, and I love it. I mean, it's very nice. So usually I don't do templates either, because I work a lot with my client. What do you want to say? I mean, I don't like to tell the client, oh, these are your colors and period. These are your fonts and period. I like to work. For instance, this lady that I told you about, that she, from the beginning, the business part through the end, through the book, we changed colors, we changed fonts, we changed because she wanted to reflect different things. So that book allowed me to, that program allowed me to work with her in all that way, and it was perfect for me. That works perfect.
Yeah, I had forgotten about my memory suite. I knew, I just taken a look at them a little bit, but yeah, I remember years ago knowing about them. Most people, I think, will design in InDesign, and then Canva has become a popular program. There's something called Artisan, and then some people use Smart Albums, or which is or Fundy is another one. I mean, there's a number of different software programs that people use for book design.
Yeah.
Usually you find one you like and you stay with it.
Exactly. Well, what I like about my memory is that I'm not attached to the internet. I can work in my laptop.
They still send a disc. That was shocking to see that.
No. The disc, they stopped sending the disc a long time ago.
Oh, I just thought I looked on there. Oh, maybe it's an old link.
No, you can see in the page, and in the page you can see like is the this, but no, you download the program
Yeah,
and
you
you
download, okay,
download
good.
all the packages and everything.
Everybody's
And
downloading, yeah.
it's super cool. I mean, I love that program because I make my design the way I want, and sometimes I combine Photoshop with them because I made my alterations and my different things in Photoshop and bring them to the program as a PNG. So it's to me super versatile to work with my memory suite, and I don't need the internet to work with it. So it's wonderful.
And when you work with My Memory Suite, who do you print with your books?
All depends. That's what I mean. Usually, I use Peekaboo a lot. I
Peekaboo,
tend to
yeah,
use
Peekaboo
Peekaboo.
books.
I mean, as I said, for instance, when we were using PPA a long time ago, some of my high-end books I designed it to Memory Suite, upload the pictures to PPA, and print them there in the high quality.
That was when she
It
said
was
that
a wonderful provider.
We have a relationship a lot of times. In fact, we'll have coming to conference this year, Fuji Film is coming. And so we've had relationships with print photo book companies. A lot of our members will use Miller's,
Yeah.
which is a B2B. Bay Photo, you use Peekaboo. I just
Yes,
put a note there.
I used to do that. But in general, when I doing these books, my clients really are not looking for a super high-end book.
Right. So
They just want to tell the story, and Peekaboo give you a decent quality, a very, very good quality, actually.
for a reasonable, for a reasonable price, and then you can upload your completed designs into their photo book. They usually have like a blank and then print
And
it.
I have the project. If they need another copy eventually, I still have my projects in my account and just reprint it, and that's it. So to me, it's super,
Right.
I mean, works fine with me. Has been wonderful. So
There was a question about if you have any recommendations to reaching your target clients.
well, as I said, most of my target clients has been referred to me. Networking for me, I mean, I have networked a lot, but that level of client, usually they don't do network. They don't come to the networking. So my big clients has been referred to me or from word of mouth, and one or two maybe they found me with my website, but mostly had been referred to me for either a provider or even a friend or another client.
Yeah. And what's fascinating, if you think about last month, we interviewed Susan Wallach, and all her clients have come because she's done a really great job with the SEO on her website. So she's gotten most of her clients through her website. So again, it's all, there's so many different ways that you can build a business in terms of finding clients.
Yeah, because I try to do social media, but my client doesn't do social media.
Yeah, you're 70.
So at one point I stopped doing it because it didn't make any sense to me. Too much effort for nothing, So.
There's an interesting question about sort of how things are changing. Do you find that clients are starting to request online books that still require your design services?
I don't think I understand the question.
I think she's referring to online books, so not the printed books, not something that you would get printed, so something that you design online, although that would still require, from my understanding, design time, because you design it for an online
I
version.
mean, for me, the important part is the design time, especially because I work with them to get what they want. So the design for me is my major. Of course, I got the money from the printing, but my big income is from the design.
You know, and you'll see there's a big movement. I've been at a lot of conferences, AI, you know, a lot of photo book companies are rushing into the AI market where, you know, it designs the book for you. But there's a few things that still have to happen to make that really work. And the photo book companies know that. That's why they're interested in connecting a lot of times with photo managers. First of all, the photos that you upload, there have to be organized. You can't, if you dump every photo that you've, you know, from your
Yeah.
photo
And
library into
yeah.
the AI, it's going to be too much. Also, AI takes away the storytelling piece. It can be a great time saver in terms of using AI effectively, but it's also going to, you still need that interview process where, like Mili, you get to know the client, you're creating the story piece of it. So
Not only that, Kathy, I mean, when you work that dumping the photos into a service, they put the photos in a format that is not exactly what you want. Maybe sometimes they put a photo, you know, in a big layout, and that photo is not really that good for a big layout, or vice versa. So you are the one who knows which photos should be enlarged, which photos should be just be there but not that big because the photo is not that good, and you know what goes with the story, what is the flow of the story. You just not do like choo and put the photos wherever you want. That's my perception. The times I see, okay, upload the photo, I have to start moving them all around. So why to do that to me?
And you mentioned that you use Apple and Milio. Are there other software that you use? And obviously you use My Memory Suite, but are there other software that you use for your projects?
Photoshop, if I need something. If I need something specific, like I need to create a PNG of an image, if I have to remove a background, if I have to combine pictures to do something, if I have to create a specific art, then I use Photoshop and generate my PNG or JPEG depending on, and import it to My Memory Suite. That's what I do.
That's the last questions.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of other questions. There was a question about if anyone knew if there were ways to view books online versus a printed physical book. And so I just added some suggestions in the chat. Some of the popular ones right now that there's actually been a lot of discussion about this specific, digital flip book software in our
There are
member.
different options, yeah, but there are
And so,
different
yeah.
options, but sometimes they are not free. You have to subscribe to them, and you know, so it keeps adding up the price of of everything that you have to invest.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Has anybody used Canvas
question,
photo
yeah.
book printing services? I think you may not have, Millie, but we do know members that have.
I don't know if they use the
I know.
printing services though. I do know that a lot of our members will use Canva to design.
to design,
Just
yeah.
like Millie downloads from My Memory Suite and uploads to her print provider. It would be this. I think most professionals do the same with Canva, just because that way they can also control the quality better and the pricing.
And we had 2 professional webinars on using Canva just not that long ago, right? We have members that taught on that.
So yeah, for the books there are a lot of options, and you have to work with the software you feel comfortable with it, and you know, the type of book that you like to make. I mean, the thing is, I really love to work with my client and do and I can do this very simple and elegant book without nothing. But there are clients that they want embellishments, they want backgrounds, they want fonts in different way. They have colors, they have, and you cannot say no to a client because it's not timeless. The client has to be happy with the book she has on her hands. This client that I was telling you, she wanted to close the book, the last page. She wanted to show it was a life well lived. She said, I want you to put rainbows and fireworks and a verse of the scriptures. And I want to reflect the happiness and the joy. When she told me that, I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be a problem to combine all those elements and it doesn't look like a crazy thing. And we eventually did it. I mean, we found a way to combine things that it was, and she loved it. How can you say to a client, oh, no, you are crazy. How are you going to put together balloons and fireworks? You have to find a way to please them. That's the way they want it.
Yep.
And you have to work with them. I mean,
you're
and I have another client that he wants all white. Super boring. White. Everything, background, everything white. No, nothing, no colors, no, white. To me, that was super boring book, very easy to make, but super boring. But that's what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
What can you do?
Yeah, that's wonderful. All right, everyone. This has been a great hour of it. Thank you, Mili, for all your expertise and your real inspiration. I think, again, thank you for your many years of membership and look forward to always seeing you at conference. And everybody, thank you, everybody, for your questions and things. We will have this up on YouTube. And again, we'll also, you can go to YouTube and go to the photo managers and watch different presentations called Career Advice from a Pro. We also do, next week, I'll be doing the top 10 photo organizing products used by photo managers. So that next, no, 2 weeks, March 22nd. And so we look forward to that as well. So you'll see more and more of us on YouTube, and so you can watch when you're ready. So people are saying, thank you, Mili. And so thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Isabel
Thank you to everybody.
All right. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.